Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Katie and welcome to another bookish adventure. So today I finished We Hunt the Flame on my lunch break. It was so good. I'd say 4.5, probably because I didn't find myself in emotional turmoil. Like, I wouldn't feel the feels, but I really loved it. There were lots of things revealed. I'm debating doing an actual speaky talky book review because it was really good, and I have bought the sequel to it, which I hope to squeeze in this year, although I hope to squeeze in We Hunt the Flame this year, so I'm now definitely hoping I can squeeze in the sequel. So yeah, I am thinking about it. I've got a lot of thoughts going around in my head because it was really enjoyable. So my next read is one of the books that is on my list of 2021 high expectations, and that book is The Queen of the Conquered by, so who's it? KatiEllen, I want to say. I am so excited to read this. I could not tell you why I have such high expectations of this book. I really don't know. I discovered this book last year when I did my deep dive on trying to find books by black authors to add to my TBR. So I don't even think it had been released yet, or it was due to be released. Like, it's quite a new book. So I don't know why. I'm not gonna lie, I think the cover has a lot to do with it, because look at the cover. I'm sorry, just look at the cover, and the sequel book is just as lush. I'm sorry. So for some unknown reason, I just have really weird high expectations for this book, and I don't know why. So this book follows Sigourney, and she is the only surviving member of her family after their islands get colonized and there's like a massive massacre. And then I think my neighbours are mowing their lawn, sorry. And then cut to years later. Sorry, side note, what do you think of my eyebrows? Because I've been changing how I've been doing them, and I found like this new brow gel, and my eyebrows are like kind of tacky, but they don't move. Like, literally don't move. I love it. But yeah, I'd like to know what you think of them. Anyway, so yeah, years later, the king, who has now decided that he is going to pick an heir from one of the noble families. From whatever reason, he cannot have children. Maybe his wife can't have children, maybe she died, I don't know yet. But yeah, for whatever reason, he is going to pick an heir from the nobility. And yeah, so she sees this as an opportunity to exact her revenge. The plot on Goodreads goes a little bit more in depth. The one in the book is actually very minor. That is pretty much summing up the book on the back of the book. So on Goodreads, on Goodreads it says that she uses her abilities to control and influence minds to infiltrate her way onto this island. However, there is someone else who is kind of doing the same thing. Oh, look, you can see the back of me over there, hey. And she soon finds herself sort of targeted by this other person using their magic, and I think that then starts to throw suspicion onto her. So this book is Caribbean inspired, so I'm really excited about that, because in the first two books that I've read so far have been African folklore. I think in particular I want to say West African folklore, so I'm now excited to see Caribbean. Maybe that's why I'm so excited, because like my background is Caribbean. Maybe that's why. I mean, I have absolutely zero, like I've never been, I don't know anything, but I don't know, maybe that's why I am. But there is something about this book that I'm just really hyped about, and I don't know why. My weekend off, so hopefully the weather will be nice, I get to do something nice, maybe just lounge around in Gavin's garden. I will take that, just being in the sun. But yeah, we will see how it goes, but I'm so excited to start this book tomorrow. So the book has definitely taken a turn that I really wasn't expecting. So obviously the main plot of this is the fact that you have this oppressed island and you have the slaves, and then the king is going to pick an heir from the nobles, and she's going to exact her revenge and like whatever. So I kind of assumed that this book was going to be coming from she was a slave, or at least she was maybe like a person living in poverty. Maybe you might have like areas where, you know, they're allowed to live but they're still like oppressed, and she was gonna infiltrate that way. I was completely wrong. So this book is like, think of like your typical standard like slave era book. You have slaves who work on a plantation, that sort of thing. Like, it is that kind of thing, and the islands have been taken over. And from what I can work out, the islands were sort of taken over hundreds of years ago, but it was only in like the last 10 years that they actually properly came in, massacred, because I'm sure she says they brought their gods hundreds of years ago, but the actual like massacre that takes place that kills her family happened like 10 years ago. Through sort of memories of going to places and being places, you get a lot of history of the islands and her history, her family's history, which I really love, because it has very cleverly disguised an info dump, so you're getting it in a completely different way, so it doesn't feel like, oh my god, because like I'm 35 pages in and I've learned quite a bit about her family and her background so far, and just the kind of general history of the islands. And yeah, yeah, it hasn't felt like I've just been sat there like, oh my god, this is ridiculous, like come on, let something happen. Her sort of revenge has been alluded to, but not really being explained, like what she wants to do or what she plans to do. So yeah, this is not what I expected. So she is actually not quite a lord, but she has a title. She, I think, pretty much rules this island, and she has slaves, she owns a plantation, and it has caused a lot of self-hatred for herself internally. She's very conflicted, but at the same time she's like, I must stick to my goal of what I want to do. And it's obviously the slaves themselves obviously don't like her, because, you know, one of their own is oppressing them. So it is very interesting. The other thing I wasn't expecting, she very readily uses her ability to sink into another person's consciousness, to read their minds, and that I wasn't expecting. I thought she would actually might be quite reluctant and, you know, respect people's privacy and their thoughts, but yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Her character is completely the opposite of what you would expect to happen. She isn't, you know, this straight away lovable person. She's actually in a very difficult position, so she isn't immediately likable. And yeah, it's really put me on the back foot, because it just wasn't, you kind of, I guess in your head you have a standard, this is what I think it's going to be, this is the kind of character I think it's going to be, and this is going to kind of be like the story arc and where we'll start and things. So yeah, I have to say that has been really unexpected, and I wasn't expecting her character to be like that. Secondary, there is descriptions of people being killed and whipped and stuff. It's not like grim, it's not, I mean sat there eating my lunch and I was a bit like, oh blimey, but it wasn't really bad. It's more things like, you know, knife slicing into muscle, that sort of thing. So it's not being shied away from, but it isn't gory and really detailed, at least not yet. But being sat there on my lunch, I was like, oh gosh, I just want to eat my lunch in peace. So yeah, and it is, a lot of it is being told not through flashbacks, but I do like how the info dump is connected to a memory and things like that, so it just doesn't feel like I'm being weighed down really quickly with information. Completely caught off guard with that. I just wasn't expecting it to go that way. Yeah, she's not what I expected, the story isn't what I expected, and it makes more sense that she could infiltrate at a higher level if she is one of these people. That makes more sense. I'm really intrigued to see how this goes, because yeah, it is not what I thought at all. Hi guys, so just a final check-in. I've actually just got back from Gavin's, had takeaway, and we started watching the 5th series of Vikings. Yeah, 5th sounds about right. So yeah, so just nice chilled evening. My eyes really blurry, so I just wanted to check in and talk about Queen of the Conquered one last time and how I'm kind of feeling about it, really. God, sorry, I keep like fiddling with my glasses. Ever since I got this piercing, I can't really get them to sit straight. I think I mentioned this before. So I'm currently on page 148. of, it's like 350, not including all the extra bonus material, just the story itself is 350. So I'm quite far in actually. I think I'm nearing the halfway point. I am pretty close. Yesterday was the World Cup, Euros 2020, and England played, so I just decided to sit out in the garden yesterday. Gavin watched that and I decided to sit out and read, and it was really nice because I've literally just spent a weekend actually just in the sun, which was so nice. As disappointing as it obviously was not to spend time with Gavin, it was nice to actually just sit out and read, because I feel like I haven't done that for a long time. You know, that's something I definitely do on a holiday, is just sit out and read. So that was just so nice to just have some chill time, especially after the day before, because we walked like 8 miles. So after we finished off in Petworth, we ended up going back home pretty much. Yeah, because we went there so early because in case it was busy and to beat traffic. So we kind of finished wandering around and we stumbled on this random trail called the Serpent Trail. So I just like found a signpost for that, ended up following that for a bit. So we got back to the car at about 1, I think. Sometime around then, Gavin had a bit of a nap in the car, so it was sort of 2 when we left, and it was only about half an hour away. So yeah, we decided to go down to the beach, have some ice creams, go for a walk, found a random stream. So yes, it was just nice to just sit out and read, and just, yeah, and it felt like I actually read a really decent chunk in one go. So as for the story, as I said, this book was pretty much on my highly anticipated reads for the year. I don't know why, but it just was. There is some reason it was up there, I don't know. I just, the feeling I was getting from this book, and yeah, I don't know where this book is going. And it's such a weird thing because the blurb from the book and the blurb from Goodreads really doesn't match what is happening. Her standing within this book and within the other owners of islands and slaves is not what I thought. Everything I assumed this book was going to be, it was not. Where I thought she would be in this book, like to start off with, is not what I thought. How she might potentially have to work her way within the wealthiness is not what I thought. So yeah, this book has completely taken me by surprise, and I actually really love that. I think even if it was what I thought it was going to be, I probably would still love it, because she's not a straight away easy character to love, because she's having to do her own people dirty, but there is a reason. Like, she has her revenge plan set out. She's determined to bring down the people who murdered her family and have enslaved them. Yeah, she is suffering, and a lot of self-hate is generated within her, because, you know, she gets to live in a modicum of wealth whilst her people suffer, and obviously she is hated basically from everyone. But yeah, the book has moved along very quickly. We are now on the island. We are meeting with these other wealthy families. We are meeting with the king, and there is something up with him, and it is just a case of, I mean, aside from the fact if they weren't going after her, the vibe of this group of people is that you get invited, if you are like one of these elite families who own one of these islands, you get picked by the king to stay on his island, and you stay there for the storm season. But basically the general expectation of this place is that you probably won't come back. It is prime opportunity, because they all live on their own separate islands. They never really have much to do with each other. However, it is a prime time for them to pick off ones who they think might be in their way for the king to pick them as his successor, or in business terms. So yeah, even if they're not going after her, they're going after each other. So you get to learn the history of what happened with her mum and why she ended up in the circumstances and why the massacre happened. And then it's also, yeah, really interesting her kind of figuring out which of the families might try and target her, which ones are sort of eyeing up the throne for themselves. Yeah, it is really interesting her trying to figure out who could be like potential targets in her way, and she's having to just navigate and play this game whilst like having to keep eyes in the back of her head. So it is really interesting. It's definitely not what I thought it was going to be, and it's so good. I feel like maybe the sequel is just going to be based maybe on a different island, is going to be completely unconnected to Sigourney and her history and everything in her path. Just so much stuff gets revealed, so much history, kind of secrets, just so much. I love it. Going forward, I want to keep myself in check. I don't want to get my hopes up too high in case I somehow jinx it for myself. I don't know how, but yeah, going forward for the rest of this week, yeah, I'm really excited to keep going with it. I'm going to try as much as I can to pick it up whilst at home. I don't get a lot of free time, so yeah, I'm going to do my absolute best. I'm only halfway, but I would seriously recommend this. So that is it for this week's vlog. I am going to go to bed now. I'm just gonna brush my teeth. The makeup is already gone, as you can tell by the hideousness of what's going on here. And yeah, I'm just gonna crawl into bed. There is a new episode of my Deborah porno, so I might listen to that because I'm not like dead sleepy, but I'm a little bit sleepy. So that'd be quite a good thing to nestle down to, although if it starts making me laugh, that's probably not the best thing to start listening to. I don't know, we'll see. Or maybe I'll listen to an old episode of Shag, Married, Annoyed, maybe, because even though I've already listened to all of them, I've forgotten so much and they still really make me laugh. So that is it. I'm going to bed. I will see you in the next video. If you enjoyed it and you want to hit that like button and do that, and if you want to subscribe, do that too. I hope you have a great day and a great week, and I'll see you soon.